said it's rota, 10,000. And I didn't have it, so I'm going.
Moving on, the Rivers State Civil Society Organization, RIVSCO, has found that attempts to remove traders who shop along the route of the proposed Port Harcourt Ring Road project without giving them adequate time and compensation. Chairman of RIVSCO, Enefa George Will, while urging the state government to consider the hardship effects of the removal of petrol subsidy, tasked the government to engage the traders.
They were asked to leave via letter without enough notice to plan themselves, and compensation plan wasn't discussed as the means of livelihood would be taken away. This will call on the Lady Governor of Rivers State to put human face to development. Current subsidy removal have thrown a lot of people into poverty. Government at all levels should avoid any action that will compound the situation, as the resultant effect of criminality and insecurity will portray the state in bad light. RIVSCO will therefore call on government to engage these traders to reduce the pain the construction of this ring road will cause them. The role of government is to solve the problem of the people, not to cause them pain.
Meanwhile, the Public Relations Secretary of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Rivers State Chapter, Njoku Soporuchi, has faulted the routes chosen for the Port Harcourt Ring Road project. In an interview, he describes it as a time bomb waiting to happen. Mr. Soporuchi said the ring roads are meant to open up new cities and towns, not pass through densely populated areas like Diobu, Ogbogoro, and other communities.
The road is passing through densely populated and developed areas. The idea of a ring road is to open up new towns and new cities. But this one is passing through already developed good neighborhoods, which will go a long way to cause a lot of impact at the side of the government and other people. Because you're like putting a time bomb into where people are living. So the number of structures you will demolish. You are expecting tankers, trailers to fly that road. Now you have people living very close to it. Will be so front.
The Tampana wants the state government to identify areas where the second phase of the ring road will start and stop to avoid the degradation of already developed structures.
Government can reconsider again for future purpose for the second phase. Let us identify where it will pass now and not waiting for after 6 years to do the media and pass them out. That is what master plans does.
On ways to stop the irregular demolition of properties by state government, Mr. Njoku government should always tag areas meant for development to avoid intrusion.
The original plan were not mapped out, so even if there was the original plan as they are saying, people had already built on those areas. What the master plan is doing is like a gotcha development. So the first have got this letter in 10 years ago, and this one, which this is a program, like in 10 years, nobody should build on this area. So the only place for compensation of all the movers are not planning invest.
As you know, the 50.15 kilometer Harcourt Ring Road is meant to pass through areas of Boro, Rumani, Igant, Ngudo, Alu, Ikwe Road, Rukboku, Eka Road, Igboeche, among communities. The task force of has was used for storing illegal fuel. Speaking as OPDS Commander John Iambade, who was represented by Olusegun Farera, a neighbor said reservoirs were found in a building along the border of the state.
On the option that has directed a raid, a snap raid on a facility around Tamara Street, Bilgulu, Bayelsa, which is being used as a reservoir for illegally refined products. And on reaching here, it was discovered that the facility is housing about 3 reservoirs with a cumulative quantity of about 35,000 liters of illegally refined products suspected to be PGO.
He said the property has been taken by the GF.
Luckily, the category can fluids the illegally refined products. Please let me start getting rid of criminals whose illegal are impeding on the economy of the country.
Suspect who work at the facility arrested operation, a woman said to be the wife of the owner of the facility, also spoke to newsmen.
I never knew it's an illegal job. That's the hand of the military and a god. Me, I don't know. And I can't say. Just product is selling to feed the life. We didn't kill anybody. That we do a pass. Yes, sir.
My school, there's no job and nothing. And this is the only business that I use in supporting my family. So I feel it seriously. I make 10 questions that I gain from customers. I use it myself.
Away from that, there was publicity secretary Sydney Barra. He states in relationship with its body to ensure its presidential mandate laid intentions to hit anti-party activities were not touched by Governor Wike one in the state.
Not having a common view, some of them have given us together to be able to achieve the dream of the party, which is number 1 in the country as a party, and I'm very able to ADP member and the ADP member that people expect it to win the things that are going wrong.
Mr. Barra also the nomination of government stating that the nomination by President Tinubu was in line with a plan to unite with other parties in the neighborhood.
That is how it should be. After politics is governance, and when we talk about governance and we have have genuine intention for the people. You only look at those who you feel can help you achieve your dream. Those who can make the job easier for you. You can go across the borders of your party, to approach anybody that you know that, this person, you think he has what it takes to help for government.
Still to come, Ariwa youths ask coup leaders to begin transitional government talks. Stay tuned.
Institute of Educational Leadership and Practitioners of Nigeria invites you to the 2023 IELPN International Conference. Theme: Educational Leadership, Quality Education and African Development, a Global Perspective. Sub-theme: Impact of Educational Leaders on the Quality of Education, Role of Education on Entrepreneurship and Investment, Challenges of Quality Assurance of Education on Sustainable Development, Educational Leadership in Early Childhood and Primary Education, and more. Venue: University of Port Harcourt, Faculty of Education Auditorium Hall, Shoba, River State. Date: 9th to 10th August 2023. 9th, opening ceremony. Time: 9 a.m. daily. Organizers: Professor Sunday
Housing Babatunde Fashola has denied allegations that he was involved in drafting the judgment for the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judges. Mr. Fashola, in a statement signed by his special advisor media Hakeem Bello, expressed his disappointment with the spread of this false information on social media platforms. The former minister called on security agencies to take action against those responsible for spreading fake news. The Senate will today confirm the ministerial nominees forwarded to it for screening and subsequent confirmation by President Bola Tinubu. Before the confirmation, the Senate would first screen the remaining two nominees sent to it by the President on Friday. They are the former Minister of State for Labour and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, and Maria Mahmood Meriga Bunkure, a former Commissioner for Higher Education in Kano State during the tenure of Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with governors of states that share boundaries with the Niger Republic. The states represented at the meeting on Sunday at the presidential villa were Sokoto, Kebbi, Yobe, Katsina, and Jigawa. Though the issues discussed were not immediately known, the meeting was part of wider consultations by the president on political instability in Niger. The sit-down also coincides with a deadline from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to the Nigerian military to reinstate deposed President Mohamed Bazoum. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana says ECOWAS is legally obligated to seek the consent of the United Nations Security Council to undertake any interventions in Niger Republic. The warning comes as the one-week ultimatum issued by President Bola Tinubu-led ECOWAS expired yesterday. Mr. Falana said ECOWAS is required to seek and obtain the authorization of the UN Security Council to launch an attack on a sovereign nation pursuant to Article 53(1) of the United Nations Charter. In the same vein, Ariwa Youth Consultative Forum has warned the ECOWAS led by President Bola Tinubu and the African Union against using military force on the coup plotters. The forum also appealed to the coup leaders to immediately begin the transitional arrangement to restore the country back to democratic governance within 1 year. The forum in a statement said military rule is no longer fashionable in Africa. In business, banks have begun to increase interest rates on deposits in line with a sustained hike in the monetary policy rates (MPR) by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN). Recall that CBN at its last Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) meeting raised MPR by another 25 basis to 18.75% from 18.50% in a bid to intensify efforts to curb rising inflation. Some commercial banks, in a message to clients, credit interests are computed on daily account balances. Withdrawals are limited to 4 per month to qualify for interest payment. In entertainment, veteran actor Pete Edochie has shared his stance on polygamy, noting that he does not condemn taking in a second wife. He made this known in an interview after being asked about his views on polygamy. According to him, people who take second wives have their reasons for doing so. In sports, England scraped through to the quarterfinals of the Women's World Cup with a dramatic penalty shootout victory over Nigeria after surviving a grueling onslaught, having gone down to 10 players. On the international scene, Niger's coup leaders have closed the country's airspace until further notice, citing the threat of military intervention from their neighbors. Flight tracking website Flight Radar 24 is showing that there are currently no aircraft in Niger's skies. The West African group of countries, ECOWAS, had earlier warned it could use force if President Mohamed Bazoum was not reinstated yesterday.
All the elements that would go into any eventual intervention have been worked out here and being refined. And ECOWAS is not going to tell the coup plotters when and where we are going to strike. That is an operational decision that will be taken by the heads of state.
A junta spokesman says Niger's armed forces are ready to defend the country. On the news this afternoon, you heard River State Primary Healthcare Management Board says it will discipline staff of health center involved in sale of vaccine. A town planner has faulted the routes for Port Harcourt's Ring Road as CSOs kick. Iowa youths ask coup leaders to begin transitional government talks. Former Minister of Works Fashola has denied drafting judgments for Presidential Petition Tribunal. England through to quarterfinals after beating Nigeria in Women's World Cup. And on the foreign scene, Niger's junta shuts airspace. The news was edited by Martha Okerinkem. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this afternoon. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.